I want to start on this topic by first saying that regardless of how you identify, I identify as a woman, but that doesn't mean that only women or people who identify as women have feminine energy. Everybody has feminine energy and everyone has masculine energy, and that is part of the reason why this is so important. Before I get into this, welcome. My name is Amy. Thank you so much for being here, whether this is your first time or you've been here before. I say this every time, but seriously, this is my favorite thing that I get to do. And it actually has to do with me finally figuring out what the heck it meant when people were talking about feminine energy. I used to just kind of blow it off. I feel like it's a little bit of a buzzword, and I just didn't really care to get into it because I had made an assumption that it had a lot more to do with just our sexual energy. And it does a little bit, but it's so much more than that. Because I was so in my masculine energy and not aware of it, that's a huge reason why I wasn't really interested in learning. So I am no expert on this, but I want to share what my experience has been a little bit because of how impactful it has been for me. I have been on this journey myself for many years now, and this is just an example of the fact that what comes to our attention and what actually lands for us has everything to do with the season we're in and what we're focused on and what we're ready for in that moment. And right now, for me, it has a lot to do with feminine energy. I can tell you what it felt like when I was in my masculine. That is very much about action. It is for me, it was making lists, to-do lists, and not going to sleep until they were done. It was feeling like if I didn't get it done, that I wasn't doing enough. Very much not enoughness. It is really the go, 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 and feeling like you have to have all of these accomplishments and all these really high expectations for yourself. This is kind of what it turns into, and that doesn't mean it's always that within masculine energy, but this is kind of when you get a little too in it, that's what you're going to be seeing more of. I was very excited about real estate investment, imagining and daydreaming about the portfolio I was going to have one day, really feeling so excited about that, especially once I bought my first home. For a lot of people, it's very much your career and how much money you're making and the fact that you have to keep making more and keep having a higher title. And okay, feminine energy is not these things. It is really being able to tune in to your emotions, to your energetic body, to really being tuned into your intuition. What is my intuition telling me today? Okay, I made this to-do list, but maybe today my body is telling me that I don't need to run as my workout. Maybe I'm just doing yin yoga. Maybe I'm not doing anything. And it's actually being okay tuning into that. The process of balancing masculine and feminine for me has been allowing myself to be okay with doing less, because it's not about doing less, but for me to transition, that is what it looked like. What's ironic is that as I've been able to lean into that more and more, I feel more aligned than ever. That's how I want to feel. Being more tuned into my feminine energy is thinking about how I want to feel versus what I want to do. And honestly, saying that right now, that's like the best way to kind of summarize it. It is allowing yourself to say, this is what I need energetically. Yes, I need to do this social thing. No, turns out this is too much for me today. And respecting yourself with that. It is recognizing what aligned action is and taking it when you're getting that full body yes to actually take that action. It is the opposite of the masculine, where it is very much that go, 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 and not giving yourself the break, not allowing yourself to tune into how these things are making you feel. And when you're completely out of balance with this, that's where you're going to get a lot of burnout and becoming completely overwhelmed or overstimulated. Tuning into your feminine energy is very much about your intuition. It's all connected. The reason why I said that it is about your sexual energy is because it lives in your sacral chakra. That is your creativity. That is your womb. That is your feminine energy. That is your sexual energy. But this is not just about literally being sexual. It's about knowing who you are and feeling tuned in your own body and leading from your creative center, knowing what that is, allowing yourself to heal and really say and recognize what your needs are and meeting those for yourself. And doing that first, because if you're not doing that for you, you can't do it for anybody else. I'm going to give you a real life example that in the last 6 months or so of me following and leaning into my feminine energy. Now, to start, I've kind of been forced into it in an aspect as it came up for me more and more, because I am dealing with a lot of migraines and I am working on healing those naturally. And they really force me to slow down some days. That has been challenging, but I'm also grateful for it because it has put me in this space of figuring out what do I need today and really listening to my body about what I need for movement, what I need for food, for nature, work, all of it. But the actual example has been me creating meditations and the energy healing. I started this channel not ever thinking that I was going to be guiding meditations. I am certified in yoga and I love teaching. I especially love teaching yin yoga. It felt very much like meditation to me. So as I'm thinking about it, it does make sense. It lines up. And hindsight's 2020. It's easy when we follow the path to look back and recognize how much something did or didn't work. This is working for me. And so I kept tuning in to my intuition and what I was being guided to. And one of those things was more energy healing, which was a little on my radar, but not to be doing it on video. Also, to start creating meditations. I'm also a teacher on Insight Timer, so if you meditate there, definitely check me out. Becoming a teacher on Insight Timer was not on my radar, although I have been meditating with that app for over 10 years now. But I just kept getting this very quiet nudge. Sign up to teach on Insight Timer. Start putting your meditations there. I had started it here on YouTube. I just started doing it. I started following that inner guidance that was quiet, and it was very much just about how it was going to feel. When I'm creating meditations, I feel so tuned in. I do not plan any of it. I might say, oh, you know what, I want to focus on this topic today, but that's the extent of it. I get so much out of creating them. What's even more wild to me is that I will listen to my own meditations, which I at first thought I wouldn't want to do, but they are so healing for me as well. Who knew? And this has all come from me listening to this guidance that seemed like, what is this? Why am I getting this download to do this? But it's like I just put the camera on. I just started recording it. How fluid it is, which is such a reflection of feminine energy, has allowed me to lean into this more and more and trust this. So I really want to encourage you, if there is something that, especially if it lines with your creativity in any way, healing, something that's just going to bring you joy, especially if it feels like it's not that practical or rational, and it feels like that's a lot of time for me to spend doing something and not sure you actually have the time to dedicate for something like that, try to take out all of that logical, mental, masculine energy influence that you're receiving and really pay attention to those little nudges that you're getting, especially the ones that keep coming back to you. That is where our alignment is. That is where we get to live from our highest timeline, from our place that is most aligned with our souls and our higher selves. This is what I have always wanted. More than anything, I have wanted to feel aligned and joyful and connected to love. I remember years ago consciously thinking to myself, how come I can feel so great some days and so just disconnected some days? I wanted to be able to feel joy more than I was feeling joy. I wanted to feel aligned more than I was feeling aligned. But like many of us, I was influenced in listening to the things around me, and I burned myself out. I took a lot of really big action that did not align with my feminine energy and only aligned with my masculine. Neither one of them are bad. It's not about that. You don't want to be too extreme in either of them, but it's about finding some balance in it. And I do think that we live in a world where masculine energy is way stronger than feminine energy. So most of us can't afford to add a little more of that feminine energy into our lives and spread it out to the people around us. I'd love to know if you resonate with this topic of feminine energy, where you're at with it, what your experience has been. Please let me know in the comments. I plan to just tune in more and more to this and really follow that guidance, because I've noticed that if I just follow it and trust it, the more I'm able to do that, the more my life expands and feels more and more inspiring and in alignment to me. And there's a scary feeling with it because it's very unknown. It's like that guidance is often done without any kind of proof or validation of why you should do it. It's very much just an instinct. And we're not taught to live our lives based on instincts. Not really. Like, add them, but only to a point. So I hope that you got something out of this today. When you share with me, it's so inspiring for me also. I love that we get to be here and in this together. And I hope that you have a really great rest of your day. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.